Come here. No, come a little closer because I need to ask you guys something. Is scratch baking a lost art? I literally just had this random thought at like almost 11, or it's past 11, a little bit past it, that I want to make some cinnamon rolls. And I'm not talking about with the Pillsbury dough or the frozen dough. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about from scratch with the yeast, the flour, the vanilla extract. I'm talking about all of that. Like, do people still do that? Let me know in the comments. Do you guys still scratch bake? Because I used to scratch bake all the time. Like before I started working, and like I was so bored, I just needed to find something to do. I would make like bread, I would make cinnamon rolls, I would make like Hawaiian rolls, like from scratch, and it was so good. But then if you're working, just extra. I just know like if you are working, you may not have time to do those things. But like on the weekend, sometimes just bake from scratch. It's fun. It makes you realize like how good things can taste fresh instead of like having to thaw it out. But let's get into it. I'm about to show you guys how I make some cinnamon rolls from scratch. What I'm gonna start out doing is making the dough. Obviously, that's the first thing that's gonna need to be made. When it comes to a dough, you wanna use these like spiral mixing attachments. And the recipe that I'm going to use, I've used it like good 3 or 4 times and they've come out good every time. And I will attach it in the description box below for those that want it. So for this segment, I will be recording it because my mixing machine is very rickety, dickety, and very loud. So here is 1 cup of sifted flour. I am going to put that aside here. Here you see that I'm getting ready to whip my buttermilk and butter. Whipping, 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 whipping. So I'm about to add my yeast here. Y'all, listen to this mixing. And we are back. I'm just adding some salt to the dough, some sugar, and a little more sugar here. Ain't never hurt nobody. Here I'm just adding in the flour, and it wouldn't be me if I didn't make it. Just incorporating the flour that I added in, spinning the bowl around, and going to add the last 2.5 cups of flour to that dough mixture. Slowly incorporating it. Here is some dimension and angles. Same thing, incorporating the dough with the flour. And the next clip is going to be me putting the dough into a bowl so that it can be placed in a warm area, because that is essential for yeast to grow. So yeah, the oven is slightly warmed and the dough will be rising for the next 2 hours. So in the meantime, what we're gonna do is make the cinnamon brown sugar mixture, which is just going to be 1 cup of brown sugar and some cinnamon. The recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, but cinnamon is something that I usually eyeball. I do like a lot of cinnamon, so I just go until I feel I've added enough. So I do want to taste it in there. Add as much sugar or cinnamon as you want. You can add pecans or dried fruit if you like that in your cinnamon rolls. Set this aside until the dough is ready. So the dough has just been taken out of the oven. Here you can see that the dough literally tripled in size from when it started. So this is a good sign. So right now what I'm gonna do is toss the dough on the counter. I washed it, I disinfected it, washed it, and lightly greased it, because what I'm gonna do right now is roll out the dough, top it off with the brown sugar, cinnamon, and actually start constructing the cinnamon roll. Hey you, yeah, I'm talking to you. Did you really wash your counter? Because I do not want y'all rolling up yesterday's lunch into y'all cinnamon roll dough. Come on now. So here I am putting flour onto my dough and I'm rolling it out here to the size that I need it to be. Keep rolling, rolling. Yeah. Okay, so here I am applying butter to the dough because this is what's going to make the cinnamon sugar stick. Here I'm applying the cinnamon sugar and I'm going to leave a 1-inch barrier on the edges. Here I'm just packing in the cinnamon sugar so that it doesn't move. And here I am starting the process of rolling. Rolling the dough, y'all don't understand how hard this is. You have to roll the dough tight enough so that it doesn't open. Here I'm just pinching the dough shut, and this is the pan I'm going to be using. I lined mine with parchment, and this is why pinching and tightly rolling the dough is very important, because you don't want your rolls to look like this. But they were still good nonetheless. So here we're going to wait for it to rise for an hour. I am so excited because this is exactly how you want them to look after they rise for the second time. Now what I'm about to do is I've already started to preheat the oven on 350, and this will be put in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. So we have made it to the cream cheese glaze segment. So I'm using Nancy's probiotic cream cheese, but any plain cream cheese should work. Here I just use the whole thing. Okay, it said to use 2 ounces, like really for that whole tray of cinnamon rolls. No, so I'm adding vanilla here, and I adding some buttermilk here. I eyeballed the cream cheese because I prefer, not the cream cheese, Lord. I'm eyeballing the powdered sugar because I prefer it to have a tart twang to it and not too sweet. After mixing the cream cheese, this is the consistency that we have. And I'm going to set this aside until the cinnamon rolls are done baking. Oh my goodness. Look at these cinnamon rolls. They look so good. They just got out of the oven, and I am about to put the cream cheese on them, and we're at the home stretch, guys. We're basically done. So I will show you guys how it looks when I glaze them. And ta-da! We are done. We are done. A grueling 4 hours later, and we are done. Now the easy part is the taste test. My husband will be taste testing the cinnamon roll. Does it look nice and fluffy?
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
It's good?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
This is thing.
Okay. Cinnamon rolls are a success. Goes to show you that scratch baking is not a lost art. You just need to have time in your day or on your weekend to devote to perfecting that recipe, and also patience. This was a very long process for me, but I'm going to cut it all short. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share the video if you'd like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.